All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Makar Kodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. This is going to be a lesson on a stupid thing that I've heard people start saying by way they say that we're all Israelites. All right, when all of a sudden now that people are starting to establish that salvation is not for everybody according to the Bible, people are starting to say that we're all Israelites. But when you go back to the book of Genesis, a simple thing to use to show that we're not all Israelites is this right here. This is Genesis chapter 25 and verse 23. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. All right. So 2 nations was in the womb of Rebecca. Right. 2 nations was in the womb of Rebecca. Verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, they were, and when the days of her and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, they were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Right, so that's one nation, the Edomites. Verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. So that was the second nation. So all these people that are saying that the Israelites and that we're all Israelites now doesn't make any sense, man. And you've got people out there that they think that we're all Israelites, but how can that be when Jacob had a twin brother that was a separate nation to him? And if we're all Israelites, who were the nations that were used to punish the Israelites? Was the Babylonians Israelites then, when they had the Israelites in captivity? Were the Romans Israelites then, when they had the Israelites in captivity? Were the Greeks? Were the Persians? Were the Medes? Like, what are these people talking about? Were the Ishmaelites? Were the Philistines? Were the Canaanites? How can we all of a sudden all be Israelites now when all these nations did all of these evil works towards the Israelites? And the reason why people are saying this is because they know who the Israelites are, man. The reason why all of a sudden now it's racist for us to be the Israelites, right? Because we're excluding everybody else, is because these people are offended that we could be Israelites, man. Because they never thought it was racist when the other people in the land were calling themselves the Israelites. All of a sudden, then it wasn't racist because them people look similar to them. But when we're saying we're the Israelites, now all of a sudden it's racist, man. And that's because these people are demons, man, and their spirit tells them that it's a problem if we're the Israelites, right? Their spirit lets them know that it's a problem if we're Israelites, because the reason why we was put in slavery, or the excuses that was used anyway, for the reason why we was put in slavery and put in captivity is because we weren't nothing, right? It's because we sinned and all of that. And people try to say it was the curse of Ham and all of this stuff, right? But when it gets made known by the world that we actually are in fact the Israelites, then these people are going to know that they're going to have to pay for that, man. And they know that they're then no better than the Babylonians. They're then no better than the Persians. They're then no better than the Egyptians. They're then no better than the Romans, because they've also caused harm to God's nation. And just like how God punished all of those nations, he's also going to punish the people that are still those nations today, calling themselves by different names, though. These people, it's crazy how these people think, man. Like, people now are actually going so far to lie that they're trying to say that we're all Israelites, but that doesn't even make any sense. Because then if you ask some of these people if the 144,000 are Israelites, they'll say they're just people in general. So the 144,000 are either Israelites or they're not. And if we're all Israelites, then that would mean that the 144,000 are also Israelites. But these people, when they're teaching their doctrine, until the Israelites started talking about the Bible, they never used to mention nations regarding the Bible in the first place, and they used to try and associate themselves with anything that was regarding for Israel, man. And they've made a whole terminology regarding it, which is replacement theology or supersessionism. Psalms 83 and verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have come and said, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And that's the reason why they did that, is because they're not Israelites. Because if they was Israelites, they would be accepting of the things that the Bible speaks of, man. If they knew that they was going to get everlasting life, they would be down with that. And Ezekiel spoke of that. Well, the book of Ezekiel speaks of that. where it was said that if it was sent to them, the other nations, they would have heard it by now. But that Ezekiel was sent to a stiff-necked nation that don't want to accept the Israelites. And I was recently watching that guy Sarnetta, man, a video that he recently did on the Bible, and just that whole video showed that a lot of Israelites hate Yahweh, man. They hate Yahweh. They hate Yahweh Shai. They hate that they are an Israelite, man. They're against the scriptures, man. They're against following God's way, and they're prepared to believe anything else rather than believe the Bible. They're prepared to try and come up with any other philosophy and any other belief system, then think that maybe if we just kept God's laws and started repenting gradually and believe that Yahweh Shai died for our sins, that maybe Yahweh would take us out of this situation. They don't want to believe that. They're prepared to believe any other kind of spiritual thing, but when it comes to believing the Bible spiritual talks, they don't want to hear that, man. He's crazy because of that, a lot of people are going to get destroyed, man. But people saying that everyone's an Israelite is ridiculous, and that's what these Christians say. They've started to try and say that we're all Israelites at the end of the day, which is not true, man. We're not all Israelites, right? We're not all Israelites, man. This is Psalms 83 and verse 5 again. For they have consulted together in one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, so that's one nation, separate from the Israelites. And the Ishmaelites, that's another nation. Of Moab, that's another nation. And the Hagarenes, which is another version of Ishmaelite. Gabal and Ammon, so that's two other separate ones again. Ammon, excuse me, I think Gabal is related to Edom. Ammon, that's another nation. Amalek, that's another nation of Edom, another tribe of Edom, excuse me. The Philistines, that's Hamites. And Tyre, that's another nation that descended from Ham, man. So what are these people talking about when they're saying that we're all Israelites? How can that be? How can that be, man? How can it be that originally, when Jacob was alive, there wasn't all Israelites, but now all of a sudden people are trying to say that we're all Israelites? When you go to the book of Genesis, where is it? Genesis chapter 9 and verse 19. These are the three sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. Right? These are the three sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. So what these people don't understand, man, and what they don't want to accept is that we're not all Israelites, man. There's a nation on this world that Yahweh has said are better than everybody else. There's a nation that Yahweh said that if they keep all of his ways, that they're going to be set on high above all nations on the earth. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe and do all his commandments which I commanded this day, that Yahweh thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So what are these people talking about we're all Israelites? No, we're not. There has to be a nation, or there has to be other nations in order for the Israelites to be set on high above them. But because people are now starting to hear that truth that we're the Israelites, right? And they get offended by the thought of that, man. Tell an Israelite that they're an Israelite in the midst of a heathen, and they're gonna say that it's racist. They might not necessarily be an Edomite. They might look like one, but they're gonna find that that's racist, man. But they never found it racist when them other people were saying that they're the Israelites. Isn't that interesting? That they're so offended by us saying that we're the Israelites, but they wasn't offended by the Ethiopians that are trying to claim it. But they're offended when the Negro, Latino, or Native American says that they're the Israelites. Especially when a so-called black man, when the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, or Levi, when they say that they're Israelite, the world gets very offended at that, man, because they know that it's true. And they know that if it's true, that means something bad is going to happen to them. And a lot of these people would rather the Bible not be true than for us to be the Israelites, man. But I'm going to end the lesson there. Alright, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Makar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the nation of Israel. Shalom.